Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm not leaving.
You're in the habit of printing out the information.
And I just printed. But typically 99. Yes.
For me, I like to read it and write notes. I know you can do that online, but I don't know how.
So thank you for coming here.
Not really. I know, but I can't see the cameras on.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We've experienced a technology glitch. So thanks for hanging out with us anyway. The time is 5:09 p.m. and we're going to get started, but there's a huge caveat here. The camera system isn't working in the room. So the Zoom, where the whole world can see us and participate, can't see what we're doing, but they can hear us. Hello, world. So we're going to proceed, but we have 3 projects on the agenda tonight. I will ask each applicant if they're okay with proceeding without the video portion. And if you're not, then we will table your item and come back to it. So you have the opportunity to decline your project tonight due to our glitch. That said, we still can present to the room and we can see presenters' screens. So I'm going to take roll call.
Why don't we take a roll call and then ask if there are any applicants that would like to object to proceeding for their item?
Sure. Thank you. And it doesn't sound like it's a big enough problem. I don't think the cameras are going to come online while we're working. So again, it's 10 after 5. The date is December 8th, 2025. We're here for the Historic Preservation Commission meeting, and we're going to do roll call. I'm Katie Adams, Commissioner. Marianne.
Commissioner Marianne Capra.
Commissioner Julie Alcama.
Staff Caitlin Barabee Smith.
Thank you, Molly.
Commissioner Rusher.
Commissioner Sally Kavanaugh.
And we have a new commissioner for her very first meeting joining us tonight. Will you say hello and your name, please, Jane?
Hi, I'm Commissioner Jane Blandford.
Great. Welcome. At the end of the meeting, we'll do a more formal welcome.
Oh,
Okay. Before we jump into public comment, I just want to remind everyone that this is the Historic Preservation Program through the City of Steamboat Springs, in which the program seeks to preserve the community's natural and built historic resources to help maintain our distinct community character. We contribute to the culture, those resources contribute to the cultural awareness, sustainability, and economic growth of our community. The Historic Preservation Commission is comprised of volunteer council-appointed members who work to safeguard the area's historical and cultural heritage by identifying, protecting, and promoting its resources. The HPC manages designations, reviews proposed exterior alterations and modifications to eligible resources, and works to educate the public of the importance of preservation. Further, there's several benefits to listing a property to the Steamboat Springs Historic Register of Historic Places. Listing process provides a means to, one, document the contributions of the resource to the historical record by strengthening the community's appreciation of our past. It creates a strong sense of community, neighborhood, and ownership pride, and it formally recognizes the property's importance to the history of Steamboat Springs and its role in shaping our community. Further, there's a lot, well, let me see if I have them, of incentives and benefits that I don't have in front of me, including federal and local tax credits up to 35% locally. There are incentives for listing your property, such as state grants and waive of local fees. So in addition, it provides increased home values, marketability, and provides safe and sustainable ongoing economic growth. Anyway, thank you. We're trying to make a habit of telling everyone the benefits. Thank you. Okay, so our first project is project SDRE 251835. It's a demolition of an eligible resource. Would the applicant please come down and give your consent that you know you're not being recorded, but that you need to speak into the mic so that we can record your voice? Is it okay with you that we don't have video, Colin?
Fine by me.
Thank you.
You don't have video or any presentation that you provide.
No problem.
And your name and address and your project, please.
Colin Kelly, the address in question is 1124 Yampa Street. And did you say the project?
Yes. Well, I can tell. A demolition of an eligible building in 1124 Yampa Street.
Formerly
Thank you.
known as the Double Z.
Thank you.
The building is kind of past its useful life in terms of its structural soundness and code compliance, so to speak.
Mhm.
We tried to reopen it as a restaurant slash art gallery kind of thing. The pipes, the plumbing, the electric, the grease trap, now the sewer. Effectively, the building should be condemned, in my opinion, but we are currently being reviewed for a replat of the adjoining parcel and a demolition of that building for reconstruction next year.
Next year. Okay. Thank you. We'll have you back for questions in a minute. Staff, would you include your presentation about this resource and property?
Yes, so formerly known as, and quite commonly known as, the Double Z. It is located at 1124 Yampa Street. It was constructed in 1910. In 1910, it was constructed as a one-level residential structure made of locally sourced river rock. In the 1970s, it was expanded not just in height with a second addition with a wood-faced front facade, but it also expanded its use to commercial. So it went from residential to commercial. So that is also why it is historically significant and not just architecturally significant. Initially, when it was originally inventoried, it was deemed to be not eligible for local designation. And when Colin Kelly and his team initially began exploring the area, staff redetermined it as being eligible, specifically again for its construction and then also for its importance in the transition of Yampa Street, which flanks and borders Lincoln Avenue from residential use to commercial use. In working with the applicant and their team, they've explored many, many options of reusing this structure. I can't go into the details in terms of how it is architecturally sound or not sound at this time, but the applicant is willing to reuse the river rock in their new development. It was also originally home to Lulu and William Fisher. So it also represents Euro-American immigration into Steamboat Springs. They originally came from Germany in the late 1800s and moved here in the early 1900s.
Were they the primary / only folks who lived there?
From what our record shows, they lived there for the longest time period.
Thanks.
Yes.
Questions from commissioners to staff about the proposed demolition of an eligible resource?
No questions.
No questions. No questions. The applicant is not seeking a hardship, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Well, then we'll pause. And is there anyone here or online who would like to give public comment on this 1124 Yampa Street project? If so, please come and speak into the mic or raise your little hand on the computer. Okay, I can't tell. No, false alarm.
Commissioner Adams, how many people do we have online tonight? 11 technically, but.
4 public people online.
Walk up to here.
Hey, you got to move it a little bit closer. Tell us your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Sage Sullivan. My address is 150 Boulder Ridge Road, Steamboat Springs, Colorado, 80487. And I guess I'm not opposed, especially if the river rock and some of the historical integrity is kept. I think on all the applications tonight, what's really important to me as a born and raised local is that the outside kind of stays the same. The inside, I feel like I have less say or control or construction knowledge over, but I think the outside stuff is what really matters and could be hopefully restored and repaired versus just demolished. And I think we're seeing so much of that in downtown Steamboat with the old houses. So many things are being completely raised and modified so much, especially with these like new type of buildings that, in my opinion, can look like sheds sometimes. And I don't think that that's very what Steamboat wants to represent and continue. I think the really heart of Steamboat is our local Western heritage, and that is probably one of the top most important things that we try to keep local and true here in Steamboat. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment for this double Z? No? Okay. Oh, applicant, you have a chance to respond should you desire to. It's up to you. I just didn't want you to feel skipped.
No, not at all. It's fine. I appreciate your comment. I live in a historic home. I love old things. This isn't, if somebody wanted to walk through the building, I would happily show them. I mean, one example, just anecdotally, the bar plumbing, how many years of beers, and we've all had a beer at the Double Z, how many years of beer and mop water drained through the floor sink? You would think that that would be hooked up to plumbing and then eventually to the sewer. Nope. It drained right to the crawl space. So the entire building, when we purchased it, we said, what is that smell that won't go away? Well, it was black mold. And so we had to do a massive remediation of black mold and rip out the entirety of the floor to get down to the floor joists that's when we discovered the problem. And those all had to be removed and tore out. We spent the money to do that. We spent a great deal of money to try to restore it. And it still failed. I mean, every aspect of the building failed. So we do intend to, I only through this process found out about the Fisher name on the family. That's something that we could certainly incorporate into our future plans. We do intend to reuse the river rock, and we've actually just identified some timber, some big exposed timber beams that are in the space that we're also going to recover and utilize those in the future project that'll go there. But it really is a matter of this building being in every facet, just, it's failed. It's falling apart. It's filled with mold and there's no active sewer. So, but we will incorporate, the history into the site. You have my word. So.
Thank you. Okay, well, this is Commissioner deliberation. Maybe Caitlin can pull up the motion if you have a chance, because we're circling in on it already. Thoughts or feedback from commission?
I have the motion in front of me, Caitlin.
Thank you, Sally.
I have a question for staff that's somewhat related to the project. Well, it's related to the project, not necessarily what we're hearing. The orange peel is also indicated on this project in the plan maps. Wondering why we're not hearing about orange peel.
That's a great question. Thank you, Molly. I apologize for my voice, by the way, putting that out there. So while our record through its former architectural inventory form at the intensive level states that the orange peel is eligible for local historic designation, it is staff's opinion through redetermination of that inventory that it was made presumptively, you could say. In order for us to consider eligibility at the local level, the resource has to be 50 years of age or older, first and foremost. The orange peel was constructed as a cohesive structure in 1980, while the incinerator for the sawmill, which makes up the conical shape of the orange peel, was constructed well before 1980 and as a standalone could be considered to be historic. It was moved to its current location, and it is an interior structural feature of the orange peel. So we can't regulate over the interior of buildings or over standalone structural features that are part of the interior. That would be equivalent to us deeming a structure an eligible resource because a fireplace was relocated from a 1901 structure. So unfortunately, at this time, that cannot come before HPC and staff cannot determine that to meet the criteria for an eligible resource.
Are you able to speak with the applicant about possibly relocating it again?
We have spoken with the applicant many times. I'm sure he's happy to come up and provide his journey in regards to that. He has reached out to multiple people, and from what I know, there has been no bites at the fish hook to relocate the orange peel.
Ignore this. This is not what we're building. We're just being green and recycling poster board here. So the site that you see here, it contemplates the full scope of the site. This is the parcel that the Double Z currently exists on. It's hard to see from where you're sitting, but where the red is here, this indicates where the orange peel building is. What I hope, our hope through this process and the public side of it is that the paper and local entities and Facebook groups, whatever, someone will emerge that wants to take the building off of our hands. If someone wants it, we're offering it for free. I don't want to quote them, but Duckles Construction says they have the equipment to even a lowboy trailer that they can even move it. I know a crane operator who says he thinks he can pick it up and sit it on said trailer. I haven't verified any of that for engineering and, cost and any of that kind of stuff, but I've been told by a crane guy and a trucking guy that they can move it. So it is available. Anyone in the community who'd love to have it. But we reached out at the direction of the Tread Pioneers. Candace had recommended a biking museum in the Pacific Northwest. We reached out to them. They had no interest. We've offered it to Routt County Riders, Steamboat Mountain School, a whole number of local nonprofits and entities. Someone please take it. There's no way that there's nobody who's expressed any interest, but it is available and we'd happily let someone have it and even help facilitate. On the Double Z side, not so easy. It's hand laid stone on dirt. So there is no foundation. so it can't be picked up and moved. And that's why we're wanting to build on our future project, take those river rocks and use them to make fireplace hearths with and stuff like that, and use some of the elements in the new building. But that building can't be picked up and moved because structurally it's built on site. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, and good to get it on the public record that you're willing to move the.
Oh yeah, anyone who wants it, reach out. I'm not hard to find. Like that, yeah, we'd love to have someone take it off our hands. So
Thank you. Since again, reminder that our video technology is not working. And so for those of you online, the applicant Colin Kelly held up a site plan of the lots, which include both the Double Z and it's in the packet, both the Double Z and the Orange Peel, both of which are slated for demolition. Other comments, questions, thoughts from commissioners? Okay. I think, yeah. I think the Double Z 1124 Yampa Street, I believe is the last standing river rock structure on Yampa. Though Orem is still standing, and I think that behind the framework there is still, which was the original yacht club, is still river rock under there. But this would be kind of the end today of our river rock features right along the Yampa River. So it is an incredible loss. And the Orange Peel, though it doesn't fall under our purview, is also an incredible loss. It's a huge community piece and has been featured in guidebooks for an identifiable, quirky steamboat downtown location. So it is a big part of our history that is being changed. And then I'd just like to note, because it's confusing, this HPC entity and our code, the way our code is written, the applicant can move on with his demolition. And we do not have in our code the ability to stop that because it is not listed on the Steamboat Springs local register. But what we can do is automatic 30 day stay of demolition will be applied. So it reads funny in our motion, but that's just how our code is presented to us. Yeah.
Can I add something for the record? And I just want to say, since you referenced Orem, which was previously the yacht club, it has a more historical bearing because it was the second fish hatchery in the Steamboat area. So okay, just putting that on that.
It was a lot of things.
And I'd like to just clarify, Orange Peel's no longer there. So if we want it to be,
Yes,
it's,
thank you. I mean, the colloquial name.
Building formerly
Yes.
known.
Thank you. Julie, that's a great point. And I think the other historical importance associated with the Orange Peel is from the founder of the Orange Peel. So his legacy does live on at their new location. I also wanted to add on the record, I hope this is okay with the applicant, that he is open to providing HPC with a tour and a final look of the Double Z before it is demolished. Another thing that I think is really interesting is the fire department has reached out to do some training in the Double Z before it's demolished. So I think it is kind of a wonderful reuse of a building that will no longer be here in the future for municipal purposes. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I believe it's in the motion, right, Sally, that we can add a condition of approval to reuse some of the river rock in as many.
It's
Yeah.
in the motion, yeah.
Okay, go ahead if you're ready.
Historic Preservation Commission approves SPRD E2518534, a permit application for demolition of an eligible resource at 1124 Yampa Street, 30 days following the date of public hearing with the following condition. Native river rock of the 1910 original structure will be reused as a design element in the future development of the surrounding site.
Thank you. The motion is on. Is there any questions, deliberation, or a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Rusher. Seconds. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Nave?
We understand, Jane. What do you mean you're approving? We still, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if tonight I can abstain. But I don't have to. I read all about it.
Would you like me to clarify, Katie?
Please.
So great question, Jane. Why would you sit on a commission? Just for the record, this is her first meeting. When you are kind of hands are tied to approve a demolition of an important architectural and historical structure. The way our code is written and in an effort to preserve private property rights, the HPC must approve all demolition applications, and that is why we do have the stay of demolition at 30 days. And in the preservation plan that you requested to reference, that will likely be going to council this year or next year, 2026, to increase that stay of demolition to hopefully encourage owners to look at other opportunities.
And can Jane not participate in voting tonight?
She can. I mean, for the demolition, yes.
Or
Okay. Well, I've counted up the votes.
And just to be clear, if somebody wanted to deny this, that means that they can demolish tomorrow. That is denying.
Sort of.
No, the only way that this can be demolished in a shorter time frame than the 30-day time frame, as of 30 days from today, is if the applicant can prove that they meet one of two considerations for exemption, if you want to say. That's a financial hardship, or that is it has been deemed a dangerous building per definition of the building code, which does require the building official sign off and or a letter of support that it's a dangerous building from an engineer or structural engineer, but then the building official still has to sign off. So no, it cannot be demolished tomorrow if someone were to deny on HPC.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 5 yays for the motion and 1 abstain. So the motion carries, and 1124 Yampa Street will have a certificate of demolition 30 days from now. Thank you. Okay. So next, we continue with our video problems. It's not a program at all, is it? So we're going to continue with audio. The next public hearing up is the Chief Theater. So before I introduce it, is the applicant here? What's up? Can you guys give me a verbal consent that you are okay with us continuing, even though our folks online cannot, with the Zoom feature, cannot see the video?
So long as we can present here in the room, we're okay with that.
Yes. Great. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, we're now on project PL 2025-0340. This is the Chief Theater at 813 Lincoln Avenue. We are reviewing a major variance in conditional use for a historic resource and a development plan. Just as a reminder, the commission reviewed this in November. I forgot the date. November 10th. Thank you. And the item was tabled. So for most of us, it's review, but we'll quickly go through it again. Yes, Caitlin.
Staff would like to remind commissioners that your findings and your vote shall only be based on your powers and duties. So areas outside of that, such as parking, are not to be considered in your decision-making tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
before we move forward, Caitlin, can you speak to what you told me earlier?
Marianne has a conflict due to her position on Main Street's board. And it is in our city attorney's best interest that she recuse herself from the vote tonight. Mary Ann, could you state that for the record?
Commissioner Capra requests to be recused from the Chief Theater vote tonight.
Okay, approved.
Which I believe Mary Ann means you need to exit the room.
Yeah, you're not allowed to stay in there.
Sorry, officially. And you can go outside and,
Yeah, we'll call you.
thank you.
Okay, the applicant joining us from ESA is Tom Davis. Can you please introduce yourself since we're audio only? And go ahead with your presentation too, Tom.
Absolutely. My name is Tom Davis, project architect for ESA here in town. I have sent a request to share. So once that's fired up.
We can see your face. That's cool.
We have tech help back there.
Yeah. I need the office to do it. Sorry, Tom. Hooray. We did it. Thank you.
Just crashed on me. Seems to be that type of evening. There it is. All right. Thank you for your time this evening. We are hopeful that you guys will jump on board for our exciting project and continue the legacy of the Chief Theater in downtown. Why is the Chief significant? Well, I think everybody knows since its inception, it has been a single stage performance venue, theater, movie theater for over a decade. And we're hoping to continue that legacy with our bold new theater design. While accommodating a new theater, there are certain considerations that we've had to factor relative to its capacity. And so it's interesting that back in 1926, the original capacity was 650 people. We're anticipating and planning for about 800 people in this new theater. And the experience, as you can see with the floor plans, which you've reviewed in your packet, is stage at one level with mezzanines up above, looking down onto the theater itself and the performance venue. One thing that's very unique about what we're proposing is the opportunity for multiple things to be happening simultaneous. Not only does it serve as a theater and single stage performance, but there's an opportunity for the bar to function while the stage and theater is operating separately. And on top of that, we're enhancing the experience at the rooftop and bringing people an opportunity to experience downtown Steamboat from an elevated viewpoint. What that boils down to in architectural terms is what we grapple with most is how do we get people safely out of a structure in case of an emergency, and how do we get people into a structure? Not only able-bodied people, but people with disabilities. So a lot of our design and the ultimate form that the Chief Theater has become, and a serious bone of contention and some critical points were our egress towers that were engaged at the front of the structure. Taking your feedback from the last time we met, we've really been trying to figure out a way that we can disengage our egress towers and our ADA accessibility from the setback rear facade. So what we have done with this new plan is we've moved those as far into the space as we possibly can, which is 4 feet disengaged from that facade setback. This provides an opportunity for the building to be perceived less visibly tall than it actually is to accommodate people getting in and out of the structure safely. For people that aren't knowledgeable on how egress works, you have to think of them as vertical vaults. Once you get to the vault, you're in a safe space. So they need to be pitted towards the outboard side of the structure. When you have structures on either side, the only place to safely get in and out of a structure is at the Lincoln Avenue street side or the rear alley side. So we've done everything in our power to try to accommodate a safe venue. I think it's important to acknowledge that we have planning staff is recommending us. We have many things to consider, not only life safety, but the community development code on top of the historic rehabilitation criteria. But that's why we're here tonight. So let's dive right in. So here's an exhibit that shows basically how we're breaking down the form. So within the commercial Old Town Zone District, we're allowed to have a 38-foot tall structure. And so we get up to 37 feet, 6 inches at that setback facade, which is 15 feet setback from Lincoln Avenue and the sidewalk. Perceptively, when you look at the parapet of the restored facade that we're bringing, the height of the parapet for the front facade is 23 feet, and our additional height that we're proposing for our structure is 14 feet, 6 inches to the rooftop deck. We've further impacted the height consideration by having an open railing design that we can continue to work on with you as we refine the design with feedback through the process. So the most important part of our proposed design is that a property should be used for its historic purpose in a new use that requires minimal change into the defining characteristics. One of the things that defines the theater, of course, is a marquee as an entry, as well as the user experience. Everything about our project aligns with that goal of the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. Another criteria for approval is that the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. I think everybody's come to know the Chief Theater as the facade that's up there now on Lincoln Avenue, yet that was constructed in the 1980s. We are proposing to go back to the period of significance from 1926 to 1946, as can be seen on the right-hand side. And what that entails is getting back down to the original facade that we'll get into. I need to zoom along here. Number 3, each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historic development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken. Our new design is intentionally set up to be distinct from the historic facade in the front without any features that we're trying to steal or create that false sense of history. Very contemporary material selections, a nod towards some historic windows, yet contemporary direct set windows. Number 4, most properties change over time. Those changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. Interestingly, the front doors were part of the 1986, I believe, remodel, and that has become known as historically significant, and it's a fun feature of the building that we very much intend on reusing. Distinctive features and construction techniques of examples craftsmanship that characterize historic property shall be preserved. As you can see in the pictures up here, concealed behind the current facade is the old facade, and we very much intend on restoring that facade. Deteriorated features shall be repaired rather than replaced. That's exactly what we're doing. Significant archaeological resources shall be protected. We won't know until we get to excavation. However, if we discover anything, we will follow the Secretary of Interior standards for that. This perhaps was where we really got stuck last time we presented. Number 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing size and scale. And so we got hung up on the massing size and scale. We are very much trying to be very distinct in our design, and we've done everything in our power to diminish the scale based on the perceived height as seen from Lincoln Avenue by pushing our egress and ADA 4 feet back from the setback facade and opening up the railing. New additions shall be able to be removed in the future. Everything about the design with the marquee and new structure could be removed in the future. Sorry, I'm rushing through this. I want to leave enough time for Trace to have his say. And we can come back. Very happy to answer any questions you have particular to the design. Here's our new marquee design that takes some elements from the past and some fresh new perspective, as the Chief Theater had a storied history of marquee design over its years. So bringing in our new design, yet nodding back to history is what we're intending with our design. And really celebrating what makes Steamboat amazing with the rooftop garden experience, opportunities to see Sleeping Giant, Mount Warner, and Howelson at the rooftop.
Thanks.
How you doing? Trace Adams. I'm the one who's running this project. I purchased this, and I just wanted to say thank you again for all you guys have done. I'll jump in right away. I want to show you really first and foremost what I purchased. And tonight is a very important decision to be made by HPC, but it's more a very important decision for this town. Ultimately, this is what the chief has been for about the last 5 years since they did the last events there. It was a homeless person living in it. It was vandalized. It has been abandoned, and it has been a delinquent venue on Main Street. This is something that I've worked to get through and just at the beginning, and now something we need to change. Here is an original photo I wanted to show from back in the 30s that were, I think I believe, in the early stages, and just showing all the sign again down the street, and also showing up here that this is the finest equipped theater between Denver and Salt Lake City. This historic venue was once the heart of our community, and it has been filled with tourists, locals, families, and friends for over 100 years. But as I said, for the last few years, it's been dormant. In the last decade, it's not been of use to us. When it comes to the historical side of things, we are working to accommodate everything HPC has asked for in regards to going back to this, bringing the sign back to its original look. And there's a lot of versions of that, obviously. Looking back over all of the pictures, we all see that there's a lot of opportunity to make it one way or the other, and everyone will have an opinion, but we're doing our best to accommodate. The next step is, as we do a 15-foot step back here, the building is going to be going up to a 38-foot height. And then on top of that, we have to have our ADA elevator and have to have our emergency stairs. So we have set those back an additional 4 feet to really work with you on making this so it's not looking like these front two towers, to taking away that from the front. We're willing to work on everything when it comes to warehouse windows and how that look needs to be, because that is, obviously a big point to figure out that it doesn't take from the historical front of this building. And so I wanted to show you a bit of the inside here, because I'm going to give my blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that this mainstream venue is brought back to life. And we've put a lot of time and a lot of money to make sure that it falls not just within HPC needs, but it falls in with the community needs. And here we have a building that's going to need to accommodate not just music venue, but it's going to need to accommodate an entire community, theater, plays, high school, across the board, and also to be multifunctional. And that's the biggest point that I want to leave here, is multifunctional and multi-use, because if you just have a single story venue, you can't accommodate a community. You can't have a bar being lively off Main Street while the high school is doing some theater acts in the theater. You can't have a private wedding on the rooftop while people are still able to go and watch the football game, the Broncos game down in the bar. You can't have a whole music venue that is going to accommodate it. The rigging, the lighting, the major acts that we want to bring to this town, they require these things. They require capacity, and capacity is, height needs to accommodate all of these things. And so as we kind of go through this, we've come in once, we've got opinion, we've come in twice, we've got opinion, and everyone in this town is going to have opinion on this project. But I think the best is how we can come together. We are going to work our best to accommodate every single thing we can on the HPC, on, like I said, on the windows, on the materials and everything. If there is the old glass, we can refurbish that as a bar. If there's anything great beneath, hopefully some gold bars underneath, because the bank was next door. But we'll work our best to get it in. And so, really, just to finish up, I just want to say again, we're happy to work with you. And ultimately our goal is we want the legacy of the chief to continue, and we want this historical icon to be brought back to life. And our town needs this, and we need your vote to get the support. And I think, we have a big part of support from the community, and we really like your support to move forward with this project. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Caitlin, is there anything you'd like to present in your staff portion regarding the chief?
Yes, I'm not going to share my screen. However, if commissioners would like me to share something in the packet, I'm more than happy to.
Okay.
Mr. Adams, would you be able to change your screen and go to a shot of the front of the chief? Thank you. So this property sits within our, that's perfect, thank you. Sits within our downtown National Register Historic District, which goes from 5th Street to 11th Street. It is non-contributing to the National Historic District. In 2015, this structure was designated as a historic resource to our local register, and I think we're all grateful that it has been purchased and that this, I won't say new use, but continued use is being proposed. The continued use does require a significant addition. I'll move through some of those points in regards to the variances that are required. First off, for the record, this structure was constructed in 1926. It was constructed in a location where there was a previous building that did burn down. It opened to the public in 1927. As you'll see in attachment C, I've provided some historic newspaper articles. When it opened in 1927, it housed a capacity of 650. The proposed capacity is 800 today. When it opened in 1927, we did not have fire code, quite clearly. We had the Cabin Hotel burned down, and the structure that was once in its place burnt down. We also did not have ADA requirements. So one of the biggest reasons in terms of the height of the addition, which again is proposed at 37 feet, 6 inches from the front elevation and 38 feet from the rear elevation, and that is without including the parapet wall and the appurtenances. Those do not contribute to building height per code, is to be able to accommodate the capacity of 800. Things such as ingress, egress, ADA, fire code, and then again, the capabilities of being able to operate a modern day theater all go into play as to the height of the addition. I want to make it very clear that the addition is set back 15 feet, 4 inches from the historic facade. The appurtenances, being the staircase and the elevator, are set back 19 feet, 9 inches from the historic facade. That's almost 20 feet. In regards to the replacement of the marquee, a former owner who was looking at restoring this actually worked with the state in regards to restoring the facade and looking at what to do with the marquee. And the State Historic Preservation Office of Colorado recommended full replacement of the marquee, for the reason being that you can't nail down a single marquee to a period of significance with one single existing historic facade. So it would actually create a false sense of time if you were to bring back one marquee over the other. The owner and the architect are also preparing and planning to rehabilitate and restore the historic facade back to the longest period of significance that we can find from historical record, which is 1926 to 1946. That also includes modifying the historic parapet. Currently, there is a pointed parapet with the words Chief Plaza underneath. So they'll be bringing that down to the squared parapet that you see there. And also kind of the parapet walls that are flanking either edge of the structure will be a bit higher than they appear today. I'm going to read off the standards for the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. Standard 1, the property will be used as it was historically or be given a new use that requires minimal change to its distinctive materials, features, spaces, and spatial relationships. What's most important here is that the historic use is being continued while the historic facade is being rehabilitated and restored. Standard 3, each property will be recognized as a physical record of its own time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or elements from other historic properties, will not be undertaken. The owner is not adding features or elements from other historic properties. Standard 5, distinctive materials, features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize the property will be preserved. What characterizes this property is its historic facade. This is being rehabilitated and restored. What also characterizes the property is its persistent large marquee. At one point in time, as you'll see in attachment C, the Chief Theater was noted as having the largest sign in all of Northwest Colorado. I believe that the owner and applicant would like to continue this. Standard 6, deteriorated historic features will be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature will match the old in design, color, texture, and where possible materials. Replacement of missing features will be substantiated by documentary and physical evidence. That is what the applicant plans to do when they rehabilitate and restore the historic facade. Standard 9, our favorite standard, not just with this project, but also with the next item on the agenda. New additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new addition is not destroying the historic materials and features. While the spatial relationship is slightly altered due to the height of the addition, it is set back so significantly that it will even be hard to see the addition when you are standing directly in front of the chief. Of course, you will be able to see the addition from across the street. The new work will be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property and its environment. I'm not going to go through the 7 aspects of integrity with commissioners tonight or with the public, but it does retain almost all 7 aspects of integrity. And of course, standard 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that, if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. If this theater were to be sold to another owner, they could of course remove the rooftop addition, and they could bring it back to a 1-story commercial front building. Give me one moment, please. As stated, this is a development plan with a major variance. The 3 variances being parking, which are not under HBC's purview to make a decision on, or I'm sorry, to make a recommendation on tonight. Building height, which of course, a rooftop addition is within HBC's purview to make a recommendation on. And then the rear setback. The building currently is legally non-conforming at 0 feet. The rear of the building goes directly to the property line. A variance is required for this because they're going to be increasing that volume at the property line. So I just wanted to note that. Again, that goes in terms or speaks towards terms of building height. When staff looks at making staff findings and analysis and a potential recommendation, when there is a variance at play, one of the criteria of approval for looking at a variance is, does this project align with the preferred directions and policies in our community plan and other applicable plans? So I wanted to take some time to read how this project aligns with the community plan and other applicable plans for the city of Steamboat Springs. Give me one moment. City of Steamboat Springs Community Plan. It aligns with the following values: thriving community, diverse economy and identity, sustainability and resiliency, emphasize and honor heritage and culture and a vibrant culture. Key initiatives under the community plan: maintain the community. Key initiative number 2, promote compact growth, adaptive reuse and infill development. It promotes the reuse of an existing historic resource with vertical infill on an occupied lot. Key initiative number 4, pursue mixed use and transit-oriented development. This is touching on the parking, which I won't go too much into. Key initiative number 6, architectural standards and historic preservation. It meets the goals, recommendations, and strategies within the historic preservation plan. Key initiative, sustain the place. Key initiative 1, parking management, goes into parking. Number 7, visitor use management, provides for event action management through a variety of activities. Key initiative, fund the future. Key initiative 3, be a strong regional economic partner. It supports the economic development and ecosystem as the Chief Theater's proposed and continued historic use does support existing partners leading activities in historic preservation, arts and culture, and heritage, such as Main Street, additional arts and culture, and performance nonprofits. The downtown plan, land use and zoning goals. Number 1, maintains land use that contributes to street level vibrancy and critical retail core. Number 2, it encourages a diverse use of land that supports locals and tourists. Number 3, it supports existing and potential local downtown retailers, hence their plan to provide for food. They will be actually sourcing that from neighboring restaurants. Number 4, improve experiential retail. Connectivity, parking, and mobility goals. Supports existing transit services. Improve the comfort, convenience, and safety for pedestrians. Art, culture, and heritage goals. Preserve and protect the existing historic structures in downtown. They're doing just this. Strengthen downtown as a historic district. Support, promote, and manage events in downtown for the benefit of locals and visitors. Character of the built environment goals. Goal 1, strengthen the arrival to downtown. Goal 2, celebrate the proximity of the Yampa River to downtown by activating the space. Goal 3, integrate redevelopment to adjacent historic structures through context-sensitive design. And of course, it does support the historic preservation plan, which you all are very familiar with, so I won't reiterate those goals. All in all, I want to wrap up with reminding HPC that your decision tonight is a decision for recommendation, which will be going both to the Planning Commission and to City Council, and that this project is more than just an addition on an important historic structure. This is a designated historic resource. It meets almost every single standard that we can apply to the project. The only standard that it does not fully meet is standard 9, which is similar to the next item on your agenda that you will be providing comment on. I think the biggest benefit to the community is the continuation of the historic use. And it is staff's findings that this project is supportable, and the variances help support continuing the historic use. And of course, it is a win for all to have a new marquee and to have the facade rehabilitated and restored. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Now we're going to move on to public comment. So if anyone has comments related to this project, please come forward. Remember, you're not on video, so please speak directly into the mic, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Hi, Lisa Popovich, Main Street, Steamboat Springs. I'd like to speak in strong support of this project. The Chief Theater has sat empty and derelict since 2020. When I was served as an ex officio on the board of the Chief, Friends of the Chief back in the day in 2015 when we applied for the local historic district designation. It was with the intent of doing nearly what Trace and his team are proposing today, restoring the facade to its original state or close to it, and expanding the theater to accommodate more people. It's important for downtown that this building be rehabilitated. In Main Street terms, when we think of a derelict building the way this is in its current state, we look at it like a black hole. It affects all the businesses around it. People aren't really excited about walking past it, and it affects the other businesses. This is really the centerpiece of downtown, and restoring it is paramount. I think that Trace and his team have come up with a great plan to do just that and have a great business plan for the theater once it opens. I think this is our last best chance for this building to remain a theater. I think if we don't go forward with this with this project, it will no longer be a theater. I urge you strongly to approve this project, and I thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Wendy Bowman. Excuse me.
Yep.
I live at 620 McKinley Street. Do you need that? I also, really the reason I'm here tonight is I have for the last 37 years had my psychotherapy practice directly across the street from the chief. So I, more than anyone, will be impacted by the height. But I am strongly in favor of this project. I think it's far more difficult for me to look out my beautiful bay window at the sad Chief Theater. So I am very in favor of this project and think that the designs look really exciting, and I agree with everything the speaker before me said. The other reason I'm so in favor of this project is that it's a native son developing it. And I've known Trace Adams since he was born, I think. And I'm really in favor of this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Chris Schnelly. I live at 54 Woods Drive in Steamboat. I'm here today not as a resident of Steamboat, but someone who believes in that our downtown is the soul of the community. When we walk down Lincoln Avenue, there is one landmark that stands as a testament to our history and future, and that's the Chief Theater. Steamboat is a community resort, not a resort community. We take care of our own. By supporting the revitalization of the Chief, we aren't just fixing a building. We're restoring a permanent home for our orchestras, concerts, and local performers. We are ensuring that the next generation of Steamboat's kids have a place to fall in love with the arts right in downtown. The Chief has stood since the days of horse-drawn carriages and the arrival of the railroad. Let's make it stand for another 100 years as a vibrant centerpiece of this community. I encourage you to approve this thoughtful project and allow it to be the heartbeat of our downtown community. Thank you.
Thanks.
Almost never have to lower this. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Sarah Leonard. I'm the CEO at the Steamboat Springs Chamber, and I'm here tonight to offer our support for the Chief Theater's development plan. The Chief Theater is one of downtown's most visible cultural landmarks, and restoring it and it's an investment in our shared history and a character that defines Steamboat Springs. This project honors space that has connected residents, visitors, and our local arts community. A revitalized Chief Theater will draw more activity to Lincoln Avenue, supporting neighboring businesses, enhancing overall economic health in our downtown core. Additionally, evening activity in the area is an excellent motivator for neighboring businesses to extend their hours of operation. Cultural venues play a proven role in increasing foot traffic and extending dwell times, a benefit that really ripples throughout the district. We know that investment in cultural infrastructure supports job creation, long-term business stability, and a more diversified economy. A vibrant, active downtown remains one of the region's strongest economic drivers, and the Chief's restoration is going to contribute to that. Average profit margins for music venues in Colorado typically fall within a range of 10 to 20%, similar to the national average for well-managed venues. However, recent data from the National Independent Venues Association has proven that we're going into a more challenging economic time for theaters in general, with about 41% of our venues in Colorado reporting that they're struggling in this down economy. That's why we're supportive of granting the Chief Theater requested variances on the front end. We really want to front load all of our businesses for success at the beginning, giving them the best opportunity that they have to succeed. This redevelopment captures the spirit of Steamboat, protecting what makes this community special. The variances being requested allow the project to maintain the historic character while meeting modern needs, an approach that respects both form and function. The developer has demonstrated commitment to doing this responsibly, leveraging historic preservation principles while investing private dollars to bring a beloved community asset back to life. The Chamber appreciates the willingness and the collaborative and transparent approach that this project has taken. And then I'm going to take off my chamber hat for 1 second and talk to you as Sarah Leonard, private citizen. I've known the Adams family pretty much my whole life, and I don't think this project could be in better hands. Trace and his entire family care deeply about the Yampa Valley and preserving our character, culture, and traditions. I have every confidence that this project will honor the chief's history while creating an amazing space for the traditions to continue. So in closing, supporting this project and the variances needed to make it feasible is a direct investment in both our past and our future. It strengthens our cultural landscape, our economic foundation, and the community we all care deeply about.
Thanks.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. I'm Gabe Selk. I'm a local business owner, resident, but I'm not really going to speak too much about historic preservation. I know that's the focus here tonight, but I'm really here as a citizen, a patron of the art, a music fan, seeing how developments like this have added to the cultural fabric of other cities. I'm originally from Baltimore, but I've been here for 25 years in Colorado. And if anybody's familiar with Charles Street, where the Washington Monument is, it's been there for about 250, maybe 300 years, and mixing kind of that historic preservation with new development, with thoughtful approach to development has revitalized that area. And it's now the cultural and entertainment hub of all of Baltimore. It happens to be safe, which is saying a lot for Baltimore. But I think that, this is the best chance that we have to bring in national touring acts, to have performing arts stage shows, things that, as resident and citizens can really get behind and enjoy, but also for our children to kind of see things that they really couldn't see without driving to Denver, or really that's probably it, that's going to be the only chance. And so having something where you've got an 800-person venue really allows to have national touring acts and to do that at a price that's more approachable for everybody in the community. I mean, they have something similar in Aspen. You've got the Belly Up, 400 seats, but you've got to have incredibly high ticket prices, and having the ability to have a little bit more capacity here is going to make it more accessible for everybody here. So like I said, I'm here as a patron of the art, a huge music fan. I haven't known Trace for 37 years or however long it's been. I've known him a couple of times, so I'm not speaking from a historic perspective, but have met him a few times, talked, and I think it's in great hands, and happy to call him a friend and want to support this any way I can. So thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Dina Selko. I'm the executive director at Perry Mansfield. I've also been a performer, director, producer for over 25 years. I'm thrilled to be here in Steamboat. And I'm excited about this new direction for the building itself. But when I first moved here, the chief was one of the reasons I agreed to move here, and then it quickly disappeared. And it was very heartbreaking for both me and my children. And so I'm very excited to see what Trace is doing. As a steward of another historic institution, I'm thrilled also to see that it is being revitalized and the purpose is being maintained. I am thrilled to be able to work in partnership as a nonprofit and see what our youth can do, especially our youth in this town can do in the revitalized chief. I'll keep it simple, but I'm in huge support of this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris Paoli, 55 Missouri Avenue. I've actually never talked to you guys. Usually I'm complaining at city council. But anyway, I just think it's, it's seeing, I've worked with a lot of different developers and people trying to do projects in town. And, we only have limited resources for economically productive development in our town. And we've pretty much said, hey, we want to keep all of our business activity in a certain corridor. And it's hard and challenging for people, especially developers or business owners like Trace, to actually make the numbers work. And I would say I'm incredibly embarrassed at some of the development that I see happening downtown. And it's a direct result of us not allowing developers to have some flexibility. There's 5 townhomes being built next to the Meat and Seafood, which should have been a hotel, but now we're getting 5 condos. Total disaster from a financial standpoint to our community. This is a good example of a piece of property where someone is trying to really create something that'll, drive a lot of business. He cares about the community. I don't think anybody's family has a stronger connection to the community than Trace. I know the challenges of making the math work on something like that, and we should all rally behind, what he wants to do. And if if you got somebody who's willing to maintain a lot of the things that they've talked about from a character standpoint, from the use of the marquee, and they're gonna, someone who's willing to work with you, we gotta go get on board, because it's horrible to think that on our operating budget all of a sudden isn't as good as we'd like, so we're gonna go tax vacant homes. That's like the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And, missing opportunities like this when someone's gonna invest in our community in the right spot where we've said we want it to happen. We need to, help them along the way, because it is by far, it's very far from an easy task to make these successful venues. And, we need to help the people that want to invest in our community. Anyway, so.
Thank you. I know the folks online can't see us, but if you want to raise your hand for public comment, please do so online as well. Is there anyone else here in the room that would like public comment? Looks like just a couple onliners, so hang tight.
Former member of city council, as well as a former member of the commission. So I was 1367. I was God for the record. I've lived in Steamboat for 54 years.
Oh, a little closer to the mic, Arianthi.
1 second.
Well, somebody hit it, so now it's working.
Oh,
Thank you.
Do I get my 3 minutes back?
Yep, it got reset.
Okay. Thank you.
Start with the top of your sentence, would you?
All right. My name's Arianthi Stetner. I've lived in Route County 54 years and 41 of those years in Steamboat. Perhaps more than before many of you were born. But anyhow, the reason I am here is to speak about the proposed design for the Chief Theater. And in a quick word, it's too much of a good thing. But to speak more accurately to the point, like the Maxwell Squire Building, the Rabbit Ears sign, and the courthouse, the Chief Theater is unique to Steamboat Springs. Its facade, materials, and scale help to define our downtown. We have all heard concerns that our historic built environment is irreplaceable and under threat from unsympathetic development. In my opinion, a project of this size is such a threat. I'm concerned that the proposal before you is too large for this location. In fact, the addition is much larger than the original building. While keeping a theater downtown has its merits, and I support that, I'm concerned that much of the existing building will be demolished to accommodate this vision. I ask you tonight whether the changes to this building are historic preservation or something else. I'm going to give you quickly in a minute 2 examples to think about, and that is Central City and Black Hawk. They both had a mandate to do historic preservation once they started receiving gambling funds from the state of Colorado. Black Hawk did preservation its way by preserving part of the facade and then building huge casinos above, around, and behind it. So the character of Black Hawk has changed irreparably. Meanwhile, Central City also had the same charge of preservation, and those casinos that came in did a great job of integrating the historic buildings, the historic character of the community, and they are thriving. Their historic character is still there with us today. I fear that if the project gets approved at this scale,
Steamboat Springs will show the Black Hawk approach to historic preservation, calling it preservation in name only. It will be development, redevelopment, but not historic preservation. I've carefully reviewed the application before you. What is exactly being preserved? On page 2.188, it says that the brick detailing on the facade will be kept as relating to the period of significance. So while the project has merit, the applicant is close to our hearts as a local boy made good, but it should not proceed in the scale that it is currently before you. It will diminish our historic character in the quest for economic development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Molly Baker, and I serve on the Board of Historic Routt County. I'm a 20-year resident of Routt County and a wife of a musician and a huge supporter of live music. But tonight I'm speaking as someone deeply committed to preserving the authenticity of Steamboat Springs historic resources. I want to first acknowledge that everyone here shares a desire to see the Chief Theater activated, vibrant, and successful. But successful rehabilitation must align with the Secretary of the Interior standards, and that's where this proposal falls short. Not because of its intentions, but because of its architecture. The Chief Theater belongs to the same architectural lineage as the Rialto Theater in Florence, which I just gave you a picture of, built in 1923, and the Egyptian Theater in Delta, built in 1928. All three share a cohesive early 20th century small town theater vocabulary, symmetrical facades, masonry detailing, prominent central entrances, and period appropriate ornamentation. These are appropriate and valid comparisons, not because of height, but because of style, because their facades are the defining elements of their historic identity. What these theaters do not share is a massive, modern, rooftop volume placed directly on top of a historic facade. In the statewide examples, modern interventions respected the original architectural grammar. They didn't add a visibly unrelated structure that visibly overpowers the stylistically or stylistically contradicts the historic building beneath it. This is where the chief proposal conflicts with the Secretary of the Interior standards, particularly standards 2, 3, and 9. Standard 2 requires that the historic character of a property be retained and be preserved. A large modern addition that dominates the building from the most public vantage points does not preserve the chief's character. It visually subordinates it. Standard 3 prohibits creating a false sense of historic development. Restoring the facade while placing a distinctly contemporary mass above it risks turning the chief into a facade fronted hybrid, something it never historically was. And Standard 9 requires new additions to be compatible in size, scale, materials, and proportion, and not to destroy historic spatial relationships. The proposed mass and 2 large rooftop appurtenances significantly alters the building's form and visual presence on Lincoln Avenue and technically may be set back, but it's not visually subordinate. I'm running out of time, so we're not trying to stop progress, but the way that it currently is, we request that the commission, I got 4 seconds, now I'm stressing, that the commission ask the applicant to make some changes. Thank you.
Okay. It's not like there's a big hook that comes to get you. You can finish your thought. Thank you for your comment.
Hello, my name is Kim Keith. I'm the Executive Director of Steamboat Creates at the Historic Depot Art Center. On behalf of Steamboat Creates, we are in strong support of the renovation and continued creative use of the historic downtown theater, as well as the variance requested to make this project viable. As Steamboat Springs designated creative district leaders, we understand the value of historic assets and what they bring to our cultural identity and economic vitality. This historic theater is a rare landmark with deep meaning for our community. Its renovation and use as a vibrant arts and culture venue will preserve that legacy while supporting contemporary needs for performance, education, and creative industry growth. The requested variances are important to ensuring the building can effectively serve our community. The improvements respect the theater's historic character while bringing it up to modern standards, an approach that reflects sustainable preservation. Reactivating this theater will significantly strengthen our creative ecosystem by providing flexible space for performance, exhibitions, and arts programs. Lost my place. Trace and his team have demonstrated a very thoughtful commitment to maintaining the theater's historic integrity while creating a functional, community-serving facility. Approving the requested variances will allow this important project to move forward and ensure that this landmark continues to serve as a cultural anchor for generations. Thank you for your consideration and for your dedication to preserving the places that define Steamboat Springs.
Thank you.
Traffic jams already. Hi, my name is Bill Latoza. I'm board president of Historic Routt County, and I live at 2170 Val-d'Isere Circle. I'm a full-time resident of Steamboat Springs and a preservation architect. Historic Routt County supports the rehabilitation of the Chief Theater. We've said that time and time again. However, we do object to the variance of increased building height for the elevator and the stair towers and the precedents that it will set going down the road. This request is for access to a proposed rooftop garden area that could possibly be used 5 to 6 months a year. The addition and the towers are not a positive design feature and only detract from the historic Chief Theater. They also block the mountains beyond the Yampa, suggesting that it's nice to get on the rooftop to get views. We all have views, we all have access. The roof maintenance could easily be achieved by a stair back by the alley with a bulkhead. So you wouldn't have to have the towers at all. If you don't have a garden space, you're going to have less structure. You could reduce the height of the building and make it so it's a nicer addition design to the Chief and not squash it as designed now. The Chief has been around for 99 years. What you approve today could last another 100 years. Please do the right thing and don't approve the variances for height. I think it's important to the community to keep the low scale and also not set a precedent. The precedents that you set for this building will be used by its neighbors and soon will be living in a shadow corridor. Let's not do that to our community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Larry Moore. I live in Steamboat Springs, have for a long time, 3324 Covey Circle. I lead the Downtown Historic Walking Tour. In fact, I took over for Mary Ann when she left doing that. And so it gives me kind of a unique perspective on our historic downtown because I get to see it over the course of every summer, see it through the eyes of about approximately 300 tourists that come through. And I can tell you it has a profound effect on people. They love it. That's why they come, they're so enthralled with our historic culture. I myself am pretty enthralled by our historic culture. So I just want to speak a little bit for and about the Chief Theater, just like I do on the tour. The Chief was, as been said, is built in 1926, went into operation in 1927. It's aptly named because it was built by a Miami Indian chief from Oklahoma. So it comes by its name, honestly. The chief, they started showing talkies in 1927, which I don't know if you know this, but 1927 was the year that talkies hit full force in this country. Did you ever see Singing in the Rain, the movie? Yeah, that took place in 1927. So, I mean, that was the setting. So, as Caitlin pointed out, this downtown historic district isn't on the National Historic Registry of Historic Districts. That being said, the block between 8th and 9th Street is the most important historic block in Routt County, certainly in Steamboat Springs. I am very concerned about maintaining the historic integrity of these buildings. For sure, something needs to be done with that building. I just don't want to see something done to it that undoes the chief. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hello all. I'm Treat Romick. I live at 3328 Apris Skiway. I've lived here basically my whole life, and I've known Trace and the family my whole life. He's a brother from another mother, to say the least. But I just wanted to say I'm here to show strong support, and not only the project, but also the variance, because I ultimately believe that it's very well could be our last chance to revitalize the actual icon that the chief is. So it's our chance to bring back life to it, but also take it into the future. And I believe in this family. I know this family, and I trust this family as well as the vision that they have for it. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go online now. John, you have your hand up. Go ahead and unmute, or maybe I have to do it for you. Yep, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Southard. I work for Logan Simpson. We're a consulting firm. We work throughout the Western United States. We recently completed both the education engagement and outreach strategy for Steamboat Springs and the historic preservation plan and historic design guideline update for Steamboat Springs. City staff asked us to review this proposal against the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. So I'm here tonight to emphasize what we included in our memo, which is included in the packet. This analysis is based upon attachment E in the packet, that is the concept for the rehabilitation of the theater. We understand that this is a development plan as opposed to construction drawings. That said, we still reviewed it as we would any project against the 10 standards. Our finding is that staff's analysis is correct. This is largely in conformance with the standards, and this took some time to get to this conclusion. We really looked into the history of this property, and while it is indeed historic in the sense of being listed in the local register, it is not a contributing property. The 10 standards in many cases reference historic materials and character defining features. However, given the many changes over time, to include changes as late as the 1980s, we find that there are very few, if any, historic materials or character defining features that will be altered here. What we have found is that the addition, while arguments could be made as to whether or not it fits the recommendations associated with the guidelines paired with Standard 9, the rooftop addition, as we've been told, is something that is necessary due to building code and life safety concerns, And it is certainly sufficiently distinct from the historic building. It is something that would be reversible in the future, should a future owner wish to do so. And all told, this is something that preserves the historic use of the property, and something that we've concluded, as has staff, is consistent with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we have one last hand up. You're known as JL on there. You can go ahead and unmute. Yep.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, sorry for the JL guys. This is Jeff LaRoche. Owned 3 different restaurants in town, including the Cantina, which was a historic building. I also live downtown. Just wanted to point out a couple things real quick with respect to time. Number one, I sat on the chief board for 6 years. And when it was operating as a nonprofit, with Scott at the helm over there, and the McClurgs owned it. McClurgs, without getting into too many details, they basically funded and made that thing work for the 7 years it was operating as a nonprofit theater. But ultimately, I want to point out that the math didn't work. We were charging for tickets coming in, and we just could not pay for the acts that really we were spending more on acts coming in than we were taking into the door. And we got really creative with the ways we tried to make it work. But ultimately, even operating as we couldn't get it to work, and McClurgs continued to have to hemorrhage money assisting us because they believed in what the Chief Theater was trying to accomplish, and what we were trying to accomplish as a board and as a venue. That being said, it is in desperate need of repair. I don't think this opportunity is going to come again very often, to be able to have somebody like Trace that's willing to come in and make these life safety repairs for a building that's 100 years old or whatever, 130 years old, whatever it is, and come in and do the right things and make it an amazing venue as it was intended to be. I think he's got some great intent. I actually had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk through the project. And I, for one, am excited about it. I don't think he's trying to reinvent the wheel. He's not turning this into a Chick-fil-A, guys. I think his intent is to actually keep, with the promenades downtown. I think, everybody agrees that downtown's beautiful. We can go down some rabbit holes of, lots of things need to be repaired downtown, no question. I mean, the post office, for one, terrible way to enter into the town on that sign. But ultimately, I think I view this as an improvement. I think we've given a lot of variances to a lot of people that are modern buildings that really don't fit in with the downtown look, feel, or anything else. I also think with respect to that, and in all fairness, he's not asking for much here. But ultimately, in addition to that, we've got to get the people from an F&B standpoint. It's got to have the ability to have a certain amount of people. Otherwise, the math doesn't work and the project's not worth it. So you got to kind of take advantage of every nook and cranny you can when you're doing projects like this to really get it to make sense across the board. I believe he's got intent for a lot of give back, at least according to when he and I talked recently. And I think that's a big, important part of the chief. And I think it does need to stay as part of its, prominence and presence as a give back to the community. And again,
Great.
I think
Thank you so much, Mr. LaRoche. I know you can't see the time ticker, but you
sorry,
ran out
guys.
of time.
Yeah, sorry, I don't see the timer.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is there anyone else here who would like to do public comment? Okay. In that case, we'll give it to Mr. Adams for response to public comment, and then we'll take a quick minute break if you want. The applicant does not have to. Is that you online, T. Adams? No.
No.
Oh, you guys tricked me. We have one more person, T. Adams. You can talk online now. Thank you.
Oh, sure. So my name is Tamara Adams, or Tammy Adams, and I am Trace's mother.
Oh. Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah, obviously our family has been very involved in Steamboat and its heritage. And I'm really proud of Trace because he has that vision of continuing this, historical building. And actually, like so many people have said, it is a travesty that this building is sat empty like it is, and that it was so destroyed. And obviously with new change, to make a business work financially, and also with all new building codes. I don't know if anybody's built anything new or tried to improve anything. Even we did an old barn several years ago and everything has changed. So it does cost more, and you do need to have fire and safety and much more stringent building codes. And I really don't think that the variances, I'm so proud of actually the group that he's working with too, all of the architects. People are so passionate about keeping this historic look to the downtown. And I really think that they're working hard to meet in the middle with everybody as far as keeping this the historical look to this area. It's also going to bring a lot of people to town. I'm in the wedding business. We have a ranch, but we've also grown our business. And I work with a lot of couples that come to town, and they're very passionate about music, and they would love to see more music and more nighttime activity in downtown. Steamboat does seem to lock down a lot in downtown. I'd say I came here when I was in my 20s, and there was a lot more to do downtown at night. And even it was just more vibrant. There was places to go to eat at 11 o'clock at night after the rodeo. And I think having a place like this will really help the community. I think it helps the vibrancy of downtown. And change is hard sometimes. And although this isn't big change, I think that I'm really passionate that we have local people with a vision for our town, and that are passionate about retaining all of the history and the doing development correctly. So I really hope that people understand that they're doing all they can to work within the parameters that they have, and they do really respect the historic committee, and we'll hope that you're on their side. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, cool.
Do we want to take a 5-minute break and then offer it up for commission staff and the owner and applicant to respond to public comment?
Sure.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Oh, we're taking a 5-minute break.
Ariante Stettner. I mean, I was like, oh, for God's sake, I couldn't believe it. She knows our family too. I should have been there in front of her. I should have looked at her. I should have been there, but Trace told me, oh, we're not gonna be on until 7:30, so I actually texted him at 5:15. I said, I'm on my way in. He goes, you're gonna be too late. Stay at home and listen to it. Oh.
Okay, let's start joining in again. Thank you. You. Oh, maybe. Oh, welcome back. Okay, let's see. Yep. It's 6:55. We're gonna resume. If there's anyone out in the lobby planning to rejoin us, thank you. And thank you for hanging out with us online. Again, as a reminder, we've lost our Zoom video capabilities to show to the public online our faces. So be sure to, commissioners, as we get into our deliberation and questions, if you could identify yourself before you talk. I know it's hard to remember, but we'll try. Okay. Applicant, would you like to respond to public comment or shall we move forward? Yes.
A lot of wonderful things were said, lots to consider, but my final thought, and Trace might have something to back this up, is really it just tethers back to why the chief is significant. And it's significant for its use and its contribution to the commercial development of Steamboat Springs. And everything about this project aligns with that. And for that reason, we're very hopeful for your support this evening.
Cool. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for coming in support, and also respect historical Routt County and everything they had to say as well. I just wanted to say this final thing is everyone will have an opinion on things. Everyone will tell you which they like and which they don't like. But the reality here is this structure, and willing to work with you fully on getting this done, but this structure only moves forward in this fashion. If I were to sell this thing and someone wanted to put in residential, it's going to be 38 feet right at the front with probably another 50 or up to 50 feet with appurtenances, just like the house in place, just like all the other buildings that are residential downtown. So I think really think about that in what you have to say. And, when it comes to preservation, we're going to do our absolute best for you, for Historic Route County. I think we have a long way to go in making everything work, but really this is where we stand, and I appreciate all your efforts thus far. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. Did you want to make a statement too, staff?
Yes, I just, in regards to a few public comments made very quickly, I want to remind HPC that you are not approving a variance tonight. City Council is the final decision maker and would approve any potential variances. And then in regards to the comment about removing the appurtenances for life safety ingress egress, so that's the staircase and the elevator, and to locate the stairs on the rear, there is no room to locate a staircase on the rear. The building goes right to the property line. And then just as a reminder, appurtenances and parapets are not by code considered contributing to building height. Thank you.
Cool. Questions for commissioners to staff? We don't know. Just as a point of clarification, right, staff, 38 feet is the max allowable height for residents.
It's the max allowable height per commercial Old Town Zone District for a structure that houses a living unit in the uppermost floor. And they are not proposing to house a living unit on the uppermost floor. Therefore, they're requesting a variance.
So the height for a commercial, which is what this is 28 feet max on the code.
Commercial without a living space.
Yeah. And then the appurtenances, so the building is at, 37 and some change, so we'll just say 38. The appurtenances rise further above that 38. Is that right? So we're not at the CDC 28 for commercial. They're putting us at 38 for the top of the roof deck, and then the appurtenances are another 10 feet above that. Is that right?
So there is a parapet wall, which is mixed in terms of material that comes up just under 4 feet from that rooftop at 38 feet, which does shield a significant portion of the appurtenances. Yes, from rooftop deck, those are proposed at being 10 feet. There are reasons for that. Additionally, the appurtenances are set back from the historic facade almost 20 feet.
Okay, so some of the parapet might reduce the look of the height, but still, the total height off of measuring tape is still 38 plus another 10 visually, even though we know that the appurtenances are allowed. It's not that the appurtenances are fitting in to the 38 feet, which is the variance requested.
I think that we've made that clear. I think we've also made it clear that if they were proposing a living unit, they would not need a variance to begin with. It looks like the applicant may want to clarify something.
Totally. This is not a multi-use. This is a commercial and no one is living in it today. So I'm just looking at the proposed use right now.
I think, yes. And is that clear in the staff report? Or can I provide any further clarity?
Pages, I just. Microphone.
To clarify, they have a good illustration. Am I on? This is Sally Kavanaugh. On
200.
Yeah, I think it's page 200, but they've got a 3D rendering from the front with red marks. And I don't know if we can get that on the screen, but if that would help clarify to everyone exactly how all the numbers add up from the sidewalk to the top of it.
Sure, I can share my screen right now, and it looks like the applicant would like to clarify something. Can he do that, Katie?
Sure, while we pull that up. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, so regarding height and appurtenances, you're allowed 10% of the aggregate square footage of the roof is an appurtenance. So if you go over 10%, then you have to count that towards height, but you're allowed 10%, which includes parapet walls and basically necessary structures for egress and ADA accessibility. So it does not count in the height calculations as far as the CDC is concerned. If you look at the definitions and the exemptions, in particular 200.F, which is the exemptions to the height.
Thank you. Okay, it's coming. Is that the?
Yeah, if you can zoom into the upper left, I think that adds up all of the heights that you were just saying out loud.
Thank you.
I'm trying to zoom.
Oh, it's working.
Yep. So it's slow. I apologize.
Do you want to read them to us, Sally? Because we can't see them.
It looks to me like we've got 37 foot 6 inches from the sidewalk to the roof deck where your feet would be standing if you were up on the roof deck. And that's also the bottom of the elevator shaft. So there's a rail. So they've modified their design that previously that was the 37 foot 6 plus was all the way across. That's what you would see, that 37. So now they've done a cutout that visually drops that. If I guess we can't zoom in, but previously they had a rail that was all the way across the top. That would be a handrail. If you stood and you looked over, it was all from the street. That would be block brick. And now it appears they're looking to do some kind of a see-through rail. So the visual of that has come down 4 feet as something that they've tried to do, I think, to bring that height down. But just, that's why I'm saying from the sidewalk to the bottom of that rail is 37 feet 6 inches, and then there's a 4-foot rail, and there's also 10 feet. So the total height is 40. Looks like it will be 47 6 inches. 47 feet 6 inches. Does that make sense?
Yes, I
thanks.
do, for the record, want to remind everyone that in terms of our CDC, building height does not include the appurtenances.
No, I know.
Let's
Katie's
just make sure
asking
to
for
be
the
clear.
numbers that add up.
I get it. I get what's allowed. I get that we can do visual things to reduce the impact, but I just want to be clear that there will still be something that is much taller than anything else nearby.
Yeah, we should all be clear, and the public should be clear that from the sidewalk to the top of the building, however you want to call that, the physical structure is 47 feet 6 inches. There's no reason anybody should hide that. That's part of what we're all going to be looking at. So whether it's allowed or not, I think it's a question we need to have in front of us.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that was understood by everyone here. And I do appreciate the visual impacts that we've done and the setbacks. That said, we're still exceeding what the building is allowed to do. Any other comments or questions?
I have some comments and questions. The first thing is that I see the changes you've made to the front facade between last time you presented and this time. And I just want to acknowledge that although aesthetically I very much liked your initial proposal, I can see that you've gone out of your way and given a lot of design thought to pushing back those towers to visually, they were a long sort of tall bookends, and you've modified that look. You now have a horizontal brick band that goes across. You've modified the windows, so you're trying to play with color and depth and texture to bring that height down when it comes to stepping back the building, and also how the building is massed, the massing of the building. I think in my mind, those were really successful. What I previously said, that you also have taken some of the structure out of the front of the building. You've cut a section out. So what appears to be, you have a note that says you'd be open to discussion, but it appears to be some level of see-through, which obviously is going to bring, whether it's a cable or glass, whatever, that's going to bring that visual down. So, I appreciate all those moves. As I was saying with Katie, we all need to look at the actual numbers, but I think there's a number of things you've done that diminish architecturally the way the massing will feel. One thing I want to ask about, and just to ask you to please consider as you move forward. On page, can we go to page DP 8.3?
All right, we're still Zoom.
Sorry, Acrobat is slow today. I'm sorry, DP 8.3?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the page in the packet, Sally?
I'm searching for it too.
I didn't.
I'm
print the
not
whole thing,
seeing
but I've just got screenshots on my phone tonight.
8.3.
But it's there's three photographs and one drawing in the upper left corner, and they're photos that they've used. They're 3D rendering. It's streetscapes. While we're waiting, I'll say that I think this is yeah. Can we zoom into the
199, page 199
yeah, thanks.
from the PDF.
Appreciate that.
It's going. I promise.
Sorry.
Large file.
And which one would you like me to zoom?
Bottom left.
All right, that's about as zoom as we're getting for right now.
Okay, can you move it over so we're looking at that bottom left?
Oh,
yeah, that's probably good. Well, there, perfect. So I think, as I made it clear last time, just repeat myself, I support this project. One thing I feel, I think you've done a good job from the front. You continue the multiple times you've come in to take our advice and make changes. When you look at this drawing, what I'd like to point out is the side elevation. So when you look at the first building in the forefront, that's not your building, you can see when we're driving down the side street, they've really done a lot of thing with their massing. That's all one building, it's all one purpose, but they've done a lot to kind of play with their massing and undulate. They've got different materials, they've got a lot going on. When we look back one block, obviously you're not on the outside of the block, but that block, I believe, is our bookstore. It's Fuzzywigs. You're walking, down to where the bridge is. There's a lot of foot traffic on the opposite side of the street from your building. So when we're walking down towards the river from Lincoln, we're going to look over, and first we're going to see that one-story building, and then above, as we can see with what just like a gray mass up there, there's another 20 feet of building that goes from, it's a big span. And I would just love to get your brains all working on the side of that building the way they've worked on the front. I know that you're not deep into you got a long way to go before you're done, but whatever it is, if it's a mural, if it's some kind of play with light, if it's some kind of a play with, plantings, if it's some kind of a play with materials or how materials are having, that's direct sunlight. So just a little bit of, depth in your materials are going to catch shadows, even just little overhangs. I mean, all this, but all of the idea that the light's going to come across, you have an opportunity to have some light play, some shadows, just make a design that crosses, and every day of the year, it's going to be a slightly different design if you just play with the depth of some of those materials, or be part of the project that we have with the cool murals going up. Anyway, I just want to point out that I do think we haven't talked at all about this elevation. And the last thing I want to do is every time you come in, there's something totally new we're throwing at you. So I'm not saying this should hold it up. But if you move this forward, if you get approved and you move this forward, I do think that is an elevation that hasn't been discussed, but will be visually, pretty obvious from the pedestrian perspective downtown.
Just a quick response and clarification. Absolutely, we are very open to further material input from you guys and from the community as well. But just so it's clear in these images, and there's a note that's down just off screen there. So when we import these to Google Earth, they end up losing all their material values. So they look like Lego bricks. So I just wanted that to be clear that we're not proposing a Lego brick to drop.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Actually, I did not, because of how I was viewing this packet, I did not catch that note.
And there is on our DP 8.1, there is the material selection, which is that spruce panel for that side elevation. But we are open to further input on materials.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's all I have.
Good notice, Sally. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jane Blandford. I have some questions, and it is my first meeting. So if my questions are not questions I should be asking, I think I'll get some guidance from somewhere. But one question, when I was first looking at your packet, and you're planning to go up 2 stories, you're going to have to develop a pretty strong foundation for that expansion upwards. Are you able to create that expansion without doing any harm to the historic facade?
Yeah, that's an interesting problem that we've had to wrestle with, of many problems. Essentially, there's going to be an expert shoring consulting firm that will help us shore up the adjacent buildings as well as the front facade. But with our step back, if you look at our lower level floor plan, the Chief Theater facade is protected because the excavation for the appurtenances is back considerably. So the integrity of the existing facade of the Chief, what's concealed behind the current bricks, will remain intact.
Are you, excuse me, are you going to be required to place any piers for this? And or do any kind of
yeah, so the soil recommendations, we did get a soils report, and the soil will allow for traditional spread footings.
Okay.
However, shoring up the adjacent structures, there's anticipated that there will be some micro piles, which essentially are a very small diameter pier that's drilled in, really flanking the side of the building.
I keep losing my questions. Can I ask a question about use? Okay, I've heard a lot of wonderful descriptions about being able to use this for the community. My guess, and I'm not sure I'm correct about this, but I know like one of my granddaughter's dance group here needs somewhere to go and put their show on. They're looking for an appropriate place. Is that the sort of use you're talking about for community?
That's correct.
And I'm sorry to ask this, but do you think they'll be able to afford to use your use?
Yes, we're also going to have a 501c3 arm to the business as well, which will be accommodating all the nonprofits, theater, school, play, science fair, dance showcase, everything you can imagine. We'll be closed on Christmas, and that is all.
If you didn't have your top floor patio and have the use of that for the limited amount of time per year, would this be a financially viable construction or business for you?
I think the biggest thing about the rooftop, what it's going to do is it is going to be an iconic feature to the entire community. It's going to have 360-degree views of sunsets on Sleeping Giant, House and Hill, Mount Werner, Alpenglow, the works. And it's going to be a place where people come specifically just to go up, whether having a cocktail or water. And I think that that is the biggest goal out of all this that I've put in, is to try and make a place where, other than Vaqueros and Salt and Lime, no one in this community can go somewhere on rooftop, downtown Steamboat. And that's a travesty that we're trying to fix.
Well, just plain devil's advocate, if you didn't have the rooftop patio, you would not be required to put in the elevator and the other 10-foot structures on top of it?
I still have to have that.
Even though people wouldn't be going up there, you would still be required
To go to the third mezzanine, yes. And I mean, we, in all honesty, I would not continue with the project without getting a rooftop space for this community.
That was what I was wondering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Julie, you ready? Did you want to ask a question?
No, I don't really have a question.
Molly?
The only thing, and this is just, the packet said that you thought the rooftop could be open 9 months a year. Maybe that was a typo.
We're working on that as well, to dependent upon snow melt and snow melt features on the roof. But you know, there are some great January days. It would be great after a ski day to go up and watch sunset, but there's also some negative 20-degree days. So I think we'll kind of work with that in line.
Are we allowed to do snow melt up on a rooftop?
Yes, as long as it's allowed for building code. Yeah, Sally, can you speak towards that? Thank you.
We have a maximum square footage, but if you stay below that, you can have snow melt.
But now we're not allowed to do it on driveways?
You can do it anywhere as long as it's underneath a number that's not on the top of my head, but there's a maximum square footage that you can have exterior snow melt.
I just have one more question, and I think I asked it last time. I don't remember what the answer was, and I'm sorry. The existing sign, the existing marquee, has a special place in a lot of people's hearts. I know it's not technically historic because it's part of the building, but it is over 25 years. So as a sign, it has some caveats to it. I understand that it's outside of our purview to make any kind of requirements regarding the current marquee. Have you considered trying to reuse it in a different way within the new construction? Use it on the rooftop deck as special lighting, as a feature up there, put it inside as a bar was recommended, and something like that. Have you considered reusing it in another way?
I think potentially the actual structure is not very intact. However, we may integrate its design into some design features of the bar, and we're open to ideas how we could keep that part of the story alive.
I think there's just so much. So from everything we've read in the packet, there's very little left in the building that hasn't been adjusted over time. And this is a longer lasting element that we still have. And so incorporating that, I think, would help go a long way with the community.
Thank you. Anything from you, Caitlin?
No.
All right. In that case, thank you. We'll move into commissioner deliberation. So if anyone wants to open it up for discussion or final thoughts, and then we'll move to a motion and a vote and on to the next. Sorry.
You want me to go? Okay, yeah. This is Alcoma Commissioner. So I appreciate everyone who came in tonight to give comments on both sides of the project. I feel the applicants have worked really hard to incorporate feedback that they've received over time and trying to keep, even with all the changes in the property, try to keep some semblance of historic standards. I feel a little more confident in what our recommendations are, that we had secondary opinion from Logan Simpson and John tonight, and he sent us a whole thing in our packets that he briefly went over on them. So that's okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Molly, any thoughts?
Yeah, just because we're giving a recommendation to City Council, I just wanted to put some notes on record. We, as a commission, fully understand the implications of adding on to a structure in this way. And I appreciate the feedback from those who spoke about the different ways that historic preservation can be handled. And some locations are doing it better than others, and we certainly want to be one of those that does it right. But at the same time, we are responsible for continuing the growth of downtown, the historic district, and to put a cap on what we're willing to accept would be irresponsible, in my opinion. And while I really dislike variances because it sets a trend for other structures, I think that to the point of most people that have spoken, to a lot of people who spoke tonight, the risk is outweighed by the benefit. I think this is our best and greatest way to preserve even the facade of this building, if nothing else, because to the point that was just made, this could easily turn into condos and be very uninteresting to anybody walking by or anybody doing business downtown. And I think it would happen in a heartbeat if you were to sell to somebody else. So taking all of those things into account, again, I just want to put it on record that I think this is the only chance we have of saving this building in any way, shape, or form. So, thank you.
Sally?
I think I've said everything I need to say. Thank you.
Jane, did you want to say anything?
No, it seems like a heartfelt project.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I guess that leaves me. I agree with what everyone has said, and I agree with all sides of the public comment. I think this is an amazing project. I think it can do a lot for our downtown. I think it's time. I'm pleased that it's this proposal and this development and these ideas. That said, I believe you guys aren't going to be surprised. I believe it's possible to meet these goals of the business and arts and culture and still fit within our codes and guidelines. And while I understand and totally agree that a lot of standards and a lot of our guidelines are positively being met, they are conforming with our standards, I think the sheer volume of this is being just overshadowed by the height of this addition. I really struggled to find any kind of examples to kind of put my mind at ease here. We have guidelines and Secretary of Interior standards for rooftop additions. So that's essentially putting a patio on top of a historic building. But that's not what we're doing here. Okay, so then we have standards and guidelines for an addition. And all of those say it should be compatible with size and scale, meaning no more than 1 story. And we're at 3 and a rooftop addition. So I can't find any guidelines to say, yeah, do 3 stories and a patio rooftop. And I don't want to hold anyone back from enjoying the patio. But I think the added height of getting the people up there on the elevators and stairs, it's going to be massive. And my concern is, one, for the historic structure, literally, and its foundation, and two, just the overall impact it will have to our historic downtown district. I agree, you've done what you can. Typically, our guidelines ask that we build to the back of the lot. And so they've done their best by setting it back, and then thank you, setting it back even further. I seriously appreciate that. But I can't quite find the justification of increasing the volume of this historic structure by 300%. It's just a little bit too much of an addition, and I still think with creative scheduling, different ideas. You have a very talented architect. I think everyone's communities and the owner's needs and desires and programs can be met. I just think that it should be scaled back, that this isn't in keeping with our standards in specific to that size of, they're supposed to be small additions. And the percentage of growth is just a little too big for me to handle on this. So that's it. We all spoke. Does it, you will? Yeah.
I was just gonna, thank you. For, as far as the recommended motion goes, I would like to propose that we add a condition of repurposing in some way the existing marquee in the new construction.
Would you be open to phrasing that as exploring repurposing the marquee or inspiration from the marquee? Because if it is too far beyond any sort of reusable value, I'm not sure if that is right to put in as a condition. For instance, if the wood is rotted, they're not going to bring in rotting wood.
Oh, I think they should totally use rotted wood. No.
Like
haul it up there.
Yeah.
Explore the reuse and inspiration behind the existing marquee in an interior feature. Would that work, Molly?
Yes. Say.
Wait, no.
No.
And other original materials, because we all know how I feel about the glass block.
And other original materials, including the glass block, which I believe the owner, Trace, has already said he would love to incorporate somehow.
So phrase it again for me.
Explore the reuse of existing material, such as the
salvaged material?
Salvaged material, such as the 1950s glass block that is underneath the current facade. Because if council reads that, they're not going to know what we're talking about. And the existing marquee in terms of design and inspiration.
Material and.
Yeah, material and inspiration. I think you could say that.
In terms of.
And please note in the proposed motion for your consideration, it does reference the sign as acknowledging that HBC is all right with the proposed marquee.
Yes, but I would like some kind, what do you guys think, of indicator that it is not original.
Could you then add to the proposed motion with a condition that there will be a sign if the owner and Trace, you're going to have to step forward to the podium and agree to these proposed conditions, that you will place a sign somewhere in or outside of the building that says the marquee was erected in 2028.
I agree.
Thank you.
If you can follow that.
Maybe omit the year 2028 that was just projected.
You're right.
Okay.
Thank you, Molly.
Sure. I'm willing to propose a motion if we are ready for that stage.
I think so. I'm looking around. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you also.
certainly. We're just going to stumble through this, but we'll get there. Historic Preservation Commission recommends approval of PL 2025-0340, a development plan major variance and conditional use application for an alteration of a historic resource requiring a multi-level rooftop addition and change of use to an indoor event venue for the Chief Theater at 813 Lincoln Avenue, and determines the new marquee contributes to the historic resource subject to the following conditions. Applicant shall apply for a historic sign permit to comply with the recommended exemption from sign code standards with the addition of a placard or sign indicating the age of the new historic marquee, and also with a condition that I can't read my notes. That there will be explore the reuse of, that's what I couldn't read. Explore the reuse of existing or salvaged materials from the current historic building, such as the 1950s glass block that is behind the current facade, and as well as the current marquee in terms of material and inspiration.
That's all of it.
That's all of it.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second on that?
A second.
Or- Thank you.
Sally Kavanaugh.
Further discussion or deliberation? No. Jane, you in or out on this?
I'm in.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of approving the motion as is, say aye.
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 Did you say aye? Yeah. You said aye. I say nay. So that's 4-1. The motion is approved. Bang. Thank you, guys. We'll see you back here, hopefully with more to come onto planning and council, but I'm sure we'll see you again as things get more finalized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Marianne, welcome back. Caitlin, do you need anything? You good? Do you need another break?
Sure, we can take a quick break.
You need one?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, the time is 7:35. We're gonna take another quickie break. Please join us back in 5 minutos. 5-minute break.
Hey, hey.
They are here with us today. Would you please introduce your project? Again, we just saw you in November.
I was going to speak first, if that's okay.
Oh, shoot. Yes.
All right with you, Chancey?
I'll make you get up and sit down 5 more times.
I'm not going to say too much. I've already introduced this project at the last concept review. Just know that they are coming in with a development plan pretty soon. So hopefully we can get them back in front of you all for an official public hearing. I want to commend them and our former applicants. I didn't say that, but they've kind of gone the extra mile. They've worked with staff, not just coming back once, but multiple times. And I think the biggest concern in their last concept was the lack there of a connector. So typically we would want a 1-story connector. That's just not possible with this proposed use. And so they have added a 2-story connector that is lower than the 1919 cross gable addition. Even though the massing and the scale of the addition along 6th Street is at about the same proportion than prior. And I will let Chancey briefly highlight some of the rest of the project. Do you want me to pull up anything, Chancey? My computer's been funky.
Maybe elevations, if you can get elevations up. If not, I think everybody's seen it in their packet.
I will try.
Good evening, Chancey Keenan. I am the architect with Mountain Architecture Design Group working on this project with the Western Resilience Center, formerly Yampa Valley Sustainability Council, for their home at 602 Oak Street. So as Caitlin mentioned, we met a few weeks ago for our first concept review, and our team left that meeting feeling fairly positive about the direction of the project in general, and also the feedback that you all provided. It seemed like for the most part, we had support from the commissioners, so thank you for that. But our goal is to have support from everyone in the room, all of the commissioners as well as staff. So we went back and did a deep dive to see what we could do to accommodate some of the topics that were discussed at that first concept review, and also continue to meet Western Resilience Center's programmatic goals as a public education hub and office headquarters at that location. So we met as a team. We met with Caitlin multiple times and offered some plan revisions that I think were pretty well received, namely the hyphen or link between the old structure and what will be the new structure. So I'll just hit some of the highlights in the interest of time here. But there's two things that I would like to highlight. The first is is that hyphen or link between the historic structure and the new addition. We were able to redistribute some space interior-wise to create that more narrow setback link that was discussed at our first concept review. And what we've done is actually increase the second floor by cantilevering space toward the alley to kind of accommodate that loss of space for their program needs. The second element that we spoke in length about was the porch. The single-story porch, kind of near the link. I can't really point here, but I think we know where we're talking about. So let's see. Research shows a lack of clarity surrounding that entire rear addition. We know pretty well the definition of that 1907 structure, and then there is an article about the 1919 2-story addition, which all of those elements are remaining unaltered with this proposed design. But that 1-story porch seems to be a little bit vague in when it was constructed, how it was constructed. It was a porch, it was enclosed. So a little lack of clarity there has us just kind of trying to figure out what the best solution is. The architectural inventory lists that northeast porch specifically as a 1980 addition, as well as the stair addition. So again, just a little bit of lack of clarity there, and without any photographic evidence. We're trying to do the best we can. So we're still proposing to keep that single-story footprint as it is today. We changed the roof pitch back to what it is today. We are modifying the windows on that facade to be larger to let in more daylight and kind of simulate the transparency of a historic porch. And we did change the siding back to match the navy blue of the historic structure. I want to proceed with caution in this area because we don't want to create a false sense of history there. So reconstructing something that we're unsure of is, gives me a little bit of anxiety, but I think if we reconstruct it similar to what it is today, we can all kind of move forward feeling pretty good about that. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions and would love to walk away tonight with everybody's support. Did you have anything?
I will also just add that she did remove unless you covered it and I wasn't listening, but the structural beam that was coming out, will you speak about removing that real quick?
Yeah, the structural beam and column do still exist, but we ended up incorporating an airlock on that front entry. And by nature of the vertical plane of the airlock, we did change that canted column that was our mass timber element that we were trying to showcase as an educational item to just a vertical column. Yeah. Sure.
Good evening, Commissioners. Michelle Stewart, Executive Director of Western Resilience Center. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come back. And again, as Chancey summarized, our goal really is to move forward with confidence. Something we highlighted in our previous discussion was our goal for the building is to model what it is to do both historic preservation with integrity while also modeling a lead by example addition that really models, for instance, geothermal energy and solar and other really important ways to showcase how we ought to build in the new environment with new construction or in the built environment with new construction. So our goal really is to have everyone feel really good about it. I think Commissioner Capra was saying that the goal is when you go through town and you give these historic tours that you can really clearly identify what is the historic building and then talk about that. And then, of course, we hope we showcase the lead by example new addition as well. Something I also want to say thank you to Caitlin, staff for working with us to really resolve what emerged as a key tension around one of the, that really was around that linkage. And there was confusion and kind of friction, I would say, about how we handled the historic preservation of that porch area. It was not our intention to remove historical material, but rather how can we move forward in a way that we all feel really good about. The two-story linkage as well, Caitlin wanted us to highlight the fact that it is not a one-story because at present there's no physical way for individuals to travel between the stories on the second floor. The only internal staircase is being removed, that 1980 addition, in order to attach the new building there. And so that was something that Caitlin recommended that we highlight is by design and functionality of the building as well as airflow, we will have to have that two-story linkage as opposed to a single story because that's the only place that people can connect with the staircase going between levels. So really looking forward to your feedback this evening. Happy to answer questions. And again, as people visit the building, we really want it to be a model that we're all really proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't know. I'm so excited.
I'll speak for Katie. If you would like to provide any objective feedback on this project for the applicant, I believe most of your feedback last time was pretty supportive, but they still did make some alterations to better meet the standards and to address some of staff's concerns.
I'll go. So I'm looking at last month's presentation and then I can immediately click over to this month's. And I don't know what kind of voodoo magic is happening, but this connector makes the backside look smaller in scale somehow. Voodoo magic, that's all I can say. It doesn't, you're brilliant. So thank you for taking that into consideration. And I know that it was a hard ask to make a connector and lose some space. But switching back and forth between the two, I mean, you're losing a little space on that deck upstairs. But I feel like you're gaining so much Are you actually losing space? Now I can't tell. Maybe not.
The voodoo magic was not without compromise, we'll
No, no,
say.
I get it. Yeah.
They did have to sacrifice some interior footage and kind of rework some of the program design on the interior.
Yeah. I think it's great. I can absolutely tell where the house ends and the new building begins. So I really, really appreciate how much effort you put into that. So good job with your voodoo-ness.
The feedback I'd like to share, and this is Commissioner Capra, is that I was excited about the project last month when we discussed it, and I'm even more excited now. And I feel it's clear from the drawings that you submitted in this meeting that historic preservation is indeed a priority. And I felt that before, but I feel even sure now. And as a local historian, I'm excited to showcase the before and after. So thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Beautiful work. Really well done.
Sure. Hi, ladies. I wasn't here last month, and this is probably, you're smart women, and I'm pretty sure that you had this covered, but that roof with the solar panels on it, it does have a slope on it, right? Okay, just sometimes I don't want to assume things, but, and you're allowed to put that many solar panels up because I heard Yampa Valley Electric has changed that.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's dependent on residential or commercial use of the building. So you just have to move into a commercial building, Jane, and then you can have as many solar panels as you want.
We built our house before they changed that rule, so we have enough panels for our house.
There you go.
If we move, which we're going to have to do, we won't have that option until they switch providers again, which is too bad.
And they're also going to be having a geothermal system that's going to be providing
Nice.
we'll call it power, the heat power, the heating. Yeah.
Well, that's all exciting. I like your design very much. And I didn't get to see the 1-story nectar, but this 2-story is perfect and it draws your eyes down. And then you have the big facade coming up from behind it, but it works visually very nicely. Thanks.
Well, I wasn't here last month, and so just have a question. What's the square footage of your addition compared to the original building? Or approximately? And then this is just an aside because I saw a lot of work there last weekend, over the weekend, and was that geothermal stuff with huge equipment? I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, that's cool.
You'll have to excuse me. I don't have the square footage numbers memorized. There is a table potentially on the cover sheet, Caitlin.
If Acrobat will let me go to it. I'm almost there.
Is there going to be a basement?
There's an existing basement under the historic structure, but it's got very low ceilings and isn't occupiable. So we're going to use that for mechanical space and storage. And then there is a full basement under the new addition that will be office space and with natural light, and it'll be a really, really inviting space for below grade.
I'm going to just open up the plan set separately.
Do you need to see something?
No.
Do you want to speak to the pink color of the house again?
Sure. I think I mentioned last time that, I don't know, if my memory serves me, they painted the house dark blue only a couple of years ago. And so that isn't a historic color. You're welcome to retain it, but it isn't a color that would have been used when this home was built. That pigment would have been really expensive.
And I remember it as dark brown from the early 80s.
Was it brown? Was it brown when it was the Brown bookstore?
The Brown bookstore was gone when I got here, but
darn,
I think.
I'm sorry, but my computer is glitching up. So if someone has it in front of them, or just like generally speaking, like percentage,
Ballpark. I'm sorry.
Ballpark.
Julie?
it's larger, Julie.
Looks like 4 times larger.
It's considerably larger.
Right. I was just curious because we just had that discussion on the last project and this one looks, yeah.
We can certainly get back to you with that.
Yeah, I just was.
I believe it's on the cover sheet, but it sounds like.
Okay, it's okay.
Technical difficulties.
Challenges.
Frozen. Sorry. I'm happy to email that information
Yeah,
out
I just
to
was
the commission.
Thank you.
Wasn't here.
Yeah, fair.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, since it's a concept review, is there any other conceptual feedback? No. Okay. No, I don't really have any either. It's meeting our guidelines. Again, she is large. She is large. And the difference between this and the last project in my mind is that it's not sitting on top of it. It's moved to the back of the lot. While you do have 2 frontages, 6th Street is a relatively passive street. It is not Main Street. It is not Oak Street. So to me, this is in keeping with other additions that have been added nearby. It's in keeping with the scale of other buildings nearby. It is not going to look as big as the Catholic Church. And I'm not sure anything can. So I think it's a beautiful job, and I appreciate and agree with the changes that have been made over this past month. And thank you for drawing back scale a little bit. I know that's hard, especially when you're dreaming of your future. So I appreciate that. And I guess that's it because we're not making a motion or anything. So, oh, right. Yeah. Thank you. There's no one on here, but if there's anyone who would like to add public comment to our concept review, please raise your little icon hand online. And if the applicant would like to make any final questions, if you're looking for more direction on any specific part, you can do that now. If not, we'll see you for the next phase. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Sorry.
I love all this.
It's just that time of night. I don't know. Dripping. It's so crowded. I lost my voice for like 10 days. That's a long, yeah, anyway. So that brings us to reports. Don't know. Or any other old business. And I'd like to take this opportunity to formally welcome Jane Blanford. You did great. Is there anything you would like to say as an introduction? So welcome, who you are, or how you came to be. How long have you been in Routt County?
Been around here for almost 5 years now. But if you read my application, you saw I've got my master's in historic preservation. And I got to work a little bit with the preservation officer in Fort Collins. And then I did volunteer work in Durango. But this is really so nice to be back doing something like this again. It just was, my brain is like, oh boy. Oh, thanks. And I will keep studying hard and get my brain back awake on all of this, but it's really fun.
Good. Well, you came in at a good time. We've just approved new guidelines. We have a new plan. We're really excited about the direction of our program. So we're glad to have you.
Oh, thank you.
And don't worry, ask all the questions you need.
Okay.
We all do.
Well, I wasn't thinking about the legal aspect of being on the commission.
Yes. And we have a little like primer, and we'll do some more trainings, but because we're quasi judicial. So just how to handle it and make sure everyone hears the same thing at the same time. And then I don't know, raise your hand if you found the rainbow in our packet, which is the meeting minutes. Yeah? Oh, we got one.
I have a correction.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Can I
Well,
actually say something?
read it then.
Am I turned on? I can't hear there I am.
There it goes.
I would like to propose that we table voting on the minutes, given the lateness of receiving them. I've had absolutely no chance to read it because we got them an hour before the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak as staff, but I think that's a good idea, especially given that they are all going to go to both planning commission and city council. So
Please.
we want to make
Yes.
sure they're extra accurate. And I also didn't have time to review them.
Okay.
I used my time in recusal. Wow.
Oh, see,
So since Mary Ann and I do have some changes, we're just gonna give you those edits so that you can incorporate them to be approved for the next time, okay? Go ahead, Mary Ann.
do we have time to get them to you before, when will city council be hearing this?
We don't have a date scheduled yet for planning commission or city council. So it's going to be a few months.
Okay, great. So we can approve them at our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Correct.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, we do have a couple of edits for you.
Do you want to start? You start.
Well, mine's, my edit is on page 5. And it's funny because I'm doing this just for you, Molly, because I'm sure you appreciate this. It's page 5 under questions from commissioners. It was I who used the embarrassing words of I dig the blue and not Molly, and it's attributed to Commissioner Rescher. We all know that those would be my words. So, and then on page 8, there's a misspelling of the word willet. It's Willett. Page 9, page 9, Adams was making a note that the information from the Tread of Pioneers was shared with both the applicant and the staff. And currently the meeting minutes say it was not shared. And the whole point of the note was to share that it was shared. And then on page 17, under Rusher, there's an incorrect use of the word there, THERE.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Could you please still email any changes you have to me? Because then I have to go through all of these meeting minutes just to get to.
You have to listen to these to get those? Sure.
Yeah. I would appreciate that. So thank you.
At the end. Is that okay? That's the one I cut to.
Do you see that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then my last name is spelled with a C and not a K.
Oops.
Under roll call. No problem.
Under the roll call.
I'm sure people historically will go back and be like, who was that person who left unexpectedly?
Girl. Very well. Okay, so we will table the minutes till our next meeting.
I hereby propose a motion that we table the minutes until the minutes from November 10th till the next meeting in January.
Thank you. Second, all those in favor, aye. Great.
Aye.
Meeting minutes are tabled to the next. And then another motion to conclude at 8:0123.
New commissioner, give her.
Oh, yes. Would you like to propose a motion to close the meeting?
I would like to propose a motion that we close the meeting at 8:03:30.
I second it, Commissioner Alcoma.
Thank you. The meeting has ended. Thank you, everybody.
Forget to turn your heaters off under your.
Oh, yeah, turn your